Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of First Steps Flowers. I'm your host, Joseph Massey, and if you're up for it, today, together, we will be recreating these rather fantastic summer peony bowls to create the most delectable of summer tablescapes. If you're ready, let's begin by taking a look at our flowers for today's project, and of course our tools too, before I extend a warm invitation. And together we can dive on in to creating the summer peony bowls. In today's project, we'll be using three types of peony, starting with Sarah Bernhardt, moving on through to one of my personal favourites, etched salmon, and finishing up with the slightly unusually named carnation bouquet. For our tools, we're keeping it nice and simple. All I'm going to be using is two of these long acrylic vases, and you'll need a roll of sellotape or anchor tape. For our first step today, I'm going to begin by taking several lengths of our anchor tape. As mentioned in the tools section, you can also use sellotape if you want to, but I find that anchor tape, especially clear anchor tape, like the one I'm using right here, works particularly well on clear glass or acrylic vases. Just helps hide the mechanics a little bit more. What I'm going to do now is take a length or two of my tape and literally begin placing it down the length of my vase. What I'm looking to do is to divide the space across the opening, across the neck of the vase, so it's approximately maybe an inch between each element of tape or the side of the vase. I'm then going to apply further pieces of tape to intersect across the opening of the vase in the other direction. This is going to create a grid, and the technique we're using here today is called the taped grid technique. By using tape to create a very light, simple, and easily removable grid across the top of the vase, what you're doing here is actually enabling the space to be a little bit more confined, a little bit more easily worked with when we're inserting our stems across the opening of the vase. When I hold the vase up, you can see, just like so, how the grid that we've put in place has really enabled us to have smaller spaces into which we can then place our flowers. It gives us greater control over where the flowers will be placed in our vessel. Our next step is to fill it up with clean, fresh water. With our mechanics in place, the first flower I'm going to be using is our etched salmon peonies. I'm going to remove all of the leaves from the stem and then simply snip the ends of the stem on a 45-degree angle. This of course increases the surface area on the end of the stem, enabling the stems to absorb more water. I'm going to be taking each stem down to around 3 or 4 inches long and use them to give a light covering across the vase. Now in this design here today, in our summer peony bowls, we're going to be using an even spread of colour and texture across the opening of the vase, but I'm making sure that all my stems are quite low within the vessels themselves. Moving on now to step 3, and we're using our carnation bouquet peonies. I know it's a really strange name for a peony. They are definitely not carnations, but they have a fantastic pop of that bright zingy colour that I really wanted to have right in here next to the more subtle muted shades that we find within our etched salmon and later on within our Sarah Bernhardt peonies. I'm now beginning to fill in the gaps, keeping things quite close, quite head to head here, creating a full luxurious mass of peonies. But my oh my, we are not done quite yet. For our final flower, we're going on in now with our Sarah Bernhardt peonies. Now, these are the effervescent peony of the season. They're available in all of the supermarkets. Most florists stock them. They are a truly wonderful peony, full, ripe, and with a rounded shape that really just gives a sense of luxury to me, especially when combined with the other peonies, helping to really meld those colours together from the very, very palest pink through to the more cerise tones that you see within this composition. We're aiming for an even spread of colour and texture, and nice full display with all of our stems beautifully placed into water. And just like that, it's now time to begin building up our tablescape. I've got two of our summer peony bowls going directly in the center of the table. Now I've got a 6-foot dining table here. It's around about 3 foot across, something like that. So two of these will decorate the table beautifully. It's now time to add a few finishing touches. I'm going to place a handful of light pink candles directly on the table, as you can see here, and then finish off, of course, with cutlery, glassware, and napkins to provide the most perfect summer celebration. And just like that, there we have it, our most perfect summer tablescape using the summer peony bowls. I hope you've so enjoyed our time here today in our short but sweet tutorial from our First Steps Flowers series. Now you know what to do. If you've any questions whatsoever on our lesson here today, do drop those questions right down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And if you do indeed attempt your own summer peony bowls, I would love to see what you get up to. Be sure to tag me on Instagram at Joseph Massey or use the hashtag First Steps Flowers. Until then, have a great day, take care, and I look forward to seeing you very soon on our next First Steps Flowers lesson together. Until then, have a good one.